So, guys, I've been in isolation for the past week. It's been a weird week. Uh,
Has,
it's ending tomorrow, but it's been a weird week. I've
has it not been nice just to like play stuff?
Yeah, but then I couldn't see like you or my other friends. I've been just dealing with the family and the ill people in the house.
Uh, uh,
Ugh,
family.
COVID. No,
Will it ever end?
no. It's been alright. I probably binged like maybe 80 plus anime episodes over this past week.
Beautiful. I'm so proud of you, Dan.
It's like
It's more of a
yay.
blessing than a curse.
It's like yay. Also, oh my gosh, I can't believe I went through all that.
Honestly, mate, I'm so proud of you for doing that. Brings a tear to my eye.
I watched like 3 anime films in a day as well.
Bloody hell.
They're all
Oh,
Pokemon
God,
ones.
some of us have got it rough, and
Oh, I couldn't do anything else. Well, I did go out for walks in the garden, but I couldn't see anyone. But I couldn't really do much. I've still kept healthy, but oh my gosh.
But at least because you've got the hobbies which you do, like the isolation period was a lot more bearable, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, like see, I have had my first vaccination, so I was negative the whole week. I did 3 tests. It was negative every time, but you know, my the people who had COVID in my house, you know, I just had to keep away from them. They basically just stayed in their room for near the whole week. I think last night was about the first time they came out a bit because it was a bit of it was one of their birthdays.
What a way to celebrate their
I know.
birthday.
COVID and birthday. Yeah.
so staying in, watching anime, and avoiding family members sounds perfect.
God,
to
I
me,
want
mate.
that sort of birthday.
Yeah, so I basically just watched so much anime. I gamed a lot. I painted loads of my Warhammer, and what else? I did a lot of exercise as well, I guess.
Yeah, that's where I'm lacking. I'll openly admit, because I'm not sure if this is the same for a lot of people, but I have a real hard time trying to justify wasting game time for exercise time. Because right now I'm in such a rush to try and finish a couple games that I just want them completely done, so I don't need to play them anymore. That I'm literally just forsaking, like, because originally I set myself a goal of like exercising every day after work for a month, and during this month period, guess how many times I've actually done that?
Maybe
0.
3.
4. Wow,
3.
More than I thought.
I know. I'm proud that I managed 3, but I've definitely I really have to do more. I'll openly admit I do have to do more.
I bought myself a Fitbit to help me like keep track of my calories and my water intake and my steps and stuff like that, and it has really helped me. Although before I bought it, I wasn't calorie counting, but I was still doing steps. But it's really got me. Since getting it, I've only had it nearly 2 weeks now, but it's really helped me to. It's made me feel a lot healthier. Like I'm drinking a lot of water now, and I'm doing a lot more exercise. Like I'll come back and be like, oh, I want to get 10k, so I'll go walk in the garden or go for a walk after work, or even at work, I'll try and get extra steps while I'm there. Obviously, not this past week, but yeah.
I'll say that's what I do at work usually as well. Like like at work, I am sort of semi-conscious. Like if I have a choice between taking the stairs and the lift, I'll take the stairs. Even if I'm having to like do like heavy lifting and stuff, like I'd rather walk the long way rather than shortcut. Just to at least, yeah, as you say, just get the steps in. And yeah, I guess that's where I'm more dedicated, is just avoiding lifts where possible.
Nah,
See, at the start of lockdown, I re-downloaded Pokemon Go just to give me an excuse to walk around the block.
And did it?
Yeah, for about a month or so.
Yeah.
I realised, oh yeah, it's Pokemon Go. It's not that great. It's the same thing every day. So I stopped.
I deleted Pokemon Go about a month back or so, and then after this week, because I've binged so much anime, I finished the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime, and I was like, oh yeah, there's that Pokemon in Sun and Moon where you can only get it through Pokemon Go, and I was like, oh, I might try and see if I can get it, and then I looked at how to get it, and it's just so much grinding, and I was like, yeah, I'm never gonna get that. I'm never gonna get that. So
I got the unevolved form, but to evolve it, it's ridiculous. I was like,
yeah, it's like 400 candies, and I was like, I was trying to do that for something else, and that was ridiculous. I didn't even get to 100.
So I don't even want the damn thing. It's not even like it's cool, like Gyarados or something.
It's only because you can only get it in Pokemon Go, and it's that's like the only reason you can only get it in Pokemon Go, and then you can put it to Sword and Shield. But all that effort for one mon.
Yeah, not worth it.
No. I do play COD. I was playing Battle Royale last night. It was so fun. But I play with my mates, so that's like the good thing. All of us, like, we got the games and we play.
It's on the PS4.
Yeah.
See, I've not even played I've not even played COD.
I've got.
I've been so stuck trying to play freaking Yu-Gi-Oh.
Like, I think COD had a massive lull, but it's kind of grown back a lot in recent years, and I've got Cold War, and I'm really enjoying Cold War. Although I've not played the campaign, but I quite like the multiplayer, and I really love the zombies. I love the zombies so much.
Yeah, the zombies was my saving grace for all the Black Ops and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people playing Warzone recently, but it's not my thing. I mean, I'll pick it up and play it. I've played like the Modern Warfare games, and I enjoyed those, but they're over and done in a few hours. That's it.
Mm.
I feel like they're not. This is probably like the fan favorite, but I feel like ever since Modern Warfare 2, it's really stagnated. Like Modern Warfare 2 has so many iconic things, which to this day, like you can remember, like remember no Russians in the story, the nuke lobbies in the multiplayer, the maps, just everything about Modern Warfare 2. Because I feel like that released at a time period where the vast amount of the fan base was in secondary school or college or university and places like that. So there's quite a really big fan base.
Oh yeah.
For that, and I think they're the ones that have fed through and continued playing it, and I think they just always just reminisce on those like late teen, early adult days with Modern Warfare 2, and yeah,
you can say that about nearly every franchise though.
Yeah,
like when it came out at the peak, it's those people that are carrying it on. So as the series goes on, it may not necessarily attract new fans. It's just the original fans that are keeping it going. Unless they do something drastic to entice new players in constantly, and it's eventually just going to die a death.
Yeah. Right, I bet we best actually introduce the fucking podcast. Right, wait a minute.
Moving swiftly on.
But the soundtrack from both like Earthbound and stuff is pretty cool. I think you're saying about a song that I don't like. I think it's from one of the first two Earthbound games. I don't know if it's from Earthbound Beginnings or Earthbound, but it's on the Smash Bros soundtrack where it's like of a dog. I can't remember what it's called, but it's always sounds a bit annoying to me.
Okay.
I know it's dun 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 dun. I can't remember. I can't remember what it's called.
I'm still trying to think. I really can't think of any more negative ones. There's bound to be more positive ones to make an appearance.
Yeah.
I'd say I'd say for the most part, music in games, it's either phenomenal that you'll never forget it, or it's just there and it's just so background.
Yeah,
Like,
it's either a sticker brush symphony or something else.
Yeah, it's just like music when you go shopping. It's just like you're not listening to it, but it's there. It would just be jarring if there wasn't any.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's there for atmosphere more than anything.
Yeah. I absolutely love all the Resident Evil games, as you know, but I wouldn't say the soundtracks, the songs do at all. It's just more atmospheric than anything.
Mm. That's fair enough.
Well, what's both of your favourite soundtracks? Obviously, you both know that my favourite soundtrack is Final Fantasy IX, but what's your favourite soundtrack?
Mine is probably Dark Souls 3, or either Dark Souls 3 or Digimon World 1. I'd say are my favourites, or the whole Dynasty Warriors series. One of those three.
Right.
I'll just be easy and just say Final Fantasy VII. But I do want to give a special shout out to the old Mega Drive game, Rocket Knight Adventures. It's one of the best platformers ever made, and I will die on that hill. But the soundtrack's so good. But yeah, probably Final Fantasy VII.
Great soundtrack.
Right.
I was just trying to think of another soundtrack, but I can't think of anything. But
yeah, I mean, I can look at my games. Like I'm staring at a shelf now, and I can sort of pick and choose tracks. But like on a whole, like every track's fantastic. Yeah,
I think all the ones
FF7 really stands out.
I think all the ones I really like I mentioned pretty much. Probably just
Yeah,
like
I think I've
Ocarina
mentioned
and
all of
Dark
them.
Souls, but well, we already know. I think last year I listened to Final Fantasy IX and the Undertale soundtrack so much because I played both of them.
I am a big fan of a musician who works with, used to work with Bethesda, Mick Gordon, who did the music to like Doom Eternal,
yes.
Wolfenstein, Prey.
His
But I wouldn't say like all his music's great. It's like every game he's worked on, there's been a couple of tracks that really stand out, but not enough for the entire thing to really, really stand out.
I love Rip and Tear from original Doom, not original Doom, from the Doom remake or reboot, whatever.
Yeah, the remix of Knee Deep in the Dead, fantastic.
I was literally going to say, like, now that you mentioned Doom, one of the main reasons I want to try Doom is because everyone raves about the Doom soundtrack.
I'm literally wearing a Doom t-shirt as I speak.
You played original Doom, Brandon?
I've not played any of the Dooms.
Oh
no,
man, original Doom is amazing.
I've not played any of them. I really want to.
Original Doom's so good. I've got it on my Switch.
On your Switch? You got this family-friendly console. You're playing Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got it.
I own the
on
original
sale.
Doom game about 6 times. Doom's fantastic.
I was watching Chris play Doom 3. Was it last month?
Yeah, would have been last month.
Yeah.
That's my least favourite Doom. It's a bit too different to the others, for my liking. That and you can't see where the hell you're going half the time.
At Doom's Gate from original Doom, it's great. It's like the iconic one.
Alright, well, yeah, the soundtrack's just amazing. Well, put it this way, Brandon. The soundtrack to Doom was inspired by bands at the time like Pantera and Metallica.
I was going to say,
it
because
really stands out.
I feel like a lot of the Doom soundtracks go on to inspire further, like, you know, the Gent and like hardcore style songs you see now, which involve like 7 or 8 string guitars.
Yeah, well, Mick Gordon uses actual chainsaws, sort of samples in music as well. That's going above and beyond. I've not heard that anywhere else before.
Yeah, I really do want to give Doom a go.
While we're on about id Software as well, special mention to Quake as well. I had 9 Inch Nails doing the soundtrack to it. That's fantastic.
I briefly mentioned this earlier for the meme, but I also want to give credit to Guitar Hero for their soundtrack.
All right.
I'd say that's a cop out.
No, I was going to say, because this is
like
going to sound really
GTA.
soppy. GTA soundtrack bangers got me into rap. But But I'll say
It's
this for
just
Guitar
like
Hero.
that.
I was gonna say if it wasn't for Guitar Hero, I feel like when I first played Guitar Hero 3, I was at that point where I was starting to get into rock and get into metal a lot more. And then playing Guitar Hero 3 really like sort of like fisted me into the genre like very hard. And since like I do genuinely feel like Guitar Hero 3 was a big gateway into music for me. Just because of the songs that they play, like Dragon Force, Slayer, Metallica, they were all like gateways for me into that genre.
I know a lot of people talk about the original Tony Hawk games, how great they were for getting people into music.
Yeah.
Indeed. That, I think, as you said, Brandon, guitar and Tony Hawk's are kind of what got me into a lot of my music in the noughties, and has kind of continued into the last decade and into this decade. But then I guess I'm a bit more versatile with my music these days.
I wonder how many people got into The Offspring just when Crazy Taxi came out.
What song?
'Cause it worked for me.
What song was on Crazy Taxi?
I can't think of the name of it, but it sticks out of my head immediately. It's the one that just starts off. It just goes, yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh right, I know which one song you mean now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, is there any YouTube recommendations you guys have? Music-wise?
Music-wise.
So I'm going to link mine.
Are we speaking about in terms of game soundtrack or even just actual proper music?
Game soundtrack.
Game soundtrack. I'd just say stick a playlist of the Dynasty Warriors. Like, just go through that and you'll have a great time.
There's a chap I like on YouTube by the name of Daniel Tidwell. He's just like a solo metal guitarist, but he does covers of a lot of stuff. So he's done Legend of Zelda, he's done Metal Gear Solid, you name it, he's probably had a stab at it.
Yeah, playlist of Dynasty Warriors or a playlist of the Spyro songs. Like you'll be happy.
Yeah, like I said, that prog rock Zelda video is great. I'm gonna link that. But yeah, I guess we like video game music.
Honestly,
Yeah.
It's gotten to a point now where if I'm playing a game, like say for example, if you rate a game out of 10, I would dedicate a solid like maybe 1 or 2 points just to sound. Like like you have some games with like really janky sound effects. Like you push a button and it's like a button, like just really odd noises for some game mechanics. I'm just like, oh, that sounds really weird. But soundtracks again is like a make or break. Well, I would say make or break, but it will constitute a big like chunk of whether I like a game or not as well.
I always remember back in the day when it was when like the Super Nintendo and the Mega Drive were like going head to head, how different their sound chips are. Like you'll always know when a game comes from a Mega Drive because it's got this certain sort of grunge twang to it.
I do like some of the 8-bit songs, like some of the 8-bit, like like when the 8-bit Pokemon Yellow songs, or put like the first Pokemon game songs. Like I adored those.
Wow, just think of the World 1-1 from Mario.
Iconic.
And Tetris. We haven't mentioned Tetris.
Oh.
I love the the covers you get of the Tetris songs. They're so fun. But yeah, Tetris sounds. Funny enough, you say that. I was literally like singing that to myself yesterday.
There we go. And that game's what, like, getting on for 40 years old now?
Yeah. Oh, game songs. Can't live without them. Can't live without them.
I think sometimes when I'm feeling a bit down and I'm just thinking about life, sometimes I put Undertale from the Undertale soundtrack, and I put a lot of that music on actually, and I think about life, and I think things aren't that bad. things can get better, and it kind of, although I'm a bit down, it kind of helps to comfort me. And I think that's kind of what I like about a lot of video game music. It helps me go back to sometimes a time where I really enjoyed the games I was playing, and well, still do, and yeah.
Good to hear. I feel like it's the same for a lot of people. Like game soundtracks does, give people that escapism. It's like for myself, like I just play like the Abyss Watchers songs from Dark Souls 3. Like if I was feeling crappy, I'd just stick that on. Like it's so just nice.
Yeah, stick on the only thing they fear is you from Doom Eternal. Bang, you're good to go. You can do anything.
Talk about, because yesterday I saw the Monster Hunter movie.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
It was actually
how bad was it?
It was okay. Like in terms of how accurate it is to the game, it's very freaking good. CGI was very, very good.
Right.
Ending was a bit okay, and then it got a bit senseless partway through the middle. And there was some sections where it was like inconsistent lighting. Like you'll be sitting out in the sun, then you're in the shade, then she's back in the sun, and he's like, okay, what is the weather today? But yeah, so there's a couple inconsistencies there, but overall it's quite a pleasant thing to watch. I think if I was to rewatch it again, it would just be something I can just stick on in the background while I'm doing something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will take your word on that one.
Honestly, if you play the Monster Hunter
it.
game, like the actual animation of the Diablos, the Rathalos, and things like that was, really, really cool. Really, really cool.
I've tried no end of times to try and get into Monster Hunter. I even downloaded Monster Hunter World only the other day.
I love that game.
I keep trying to get into it. It just won't happen.
It doesn't do it for me either.
No, I've picked up like half a dozen different titles and give it a go, and it just never sticks.
No, I really like Monster Hunter World. I love the customization for everything. It was so good.
I love the concept of it. Like, it's, hunting down the big monsters and then using their parts to make yourself like equipment and that. But
it gets very, very grindy later on.
Yeah. I've never got that far into it. I think the furthest I got was Monster Hunter 4 on the 3DS. I want to say it was that one. I played that for about 12 hours. I got a bit more into that. But then it just got to a certain mission. I was like, I can't be bothered for that. Never picked it up again.
Yeah, Monster Hunter World's the only one I've played, and I really, really enjoyed it. The last boss was a bit meh. But it was, the last boss was a bit meh. The last boss, in terms of aesthetics, is freaking amazing, but it doesn't feel like a last boss, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's one of those where you beat it and then like the game ends. It's like, oh, is that it? One of those.
In a way.
Yeah. I think the last game I played like that was Deus Ex, the second one. Is it Mankind Divided? The second one. Yeah, but you fought like this big boss, and then the game just like, and then there's like roll credits. It's like, oh, I thought it was just like a normal boss guy. It's like, I'm waiting for the rest of the game. That was it. It's like, oh, okay. Then guess I finished that then.
Yeah, we'll see you next time, whenever that is. So,
2 weeks, Dad. 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Indeed, we will. Yeah. So, guys, if you have been listening to us, thank you for listening. But we've been talking about music. Why aren't you listening to music? Why are you listening to us? Go forth. Listen to great music. And then you would have achieved victory. Maybe we should come up with a title along those lines.
No. Thanks for everyone who's listened, and we'll see you next time. Obviously, I've been Dan.
I've been Brandon.
And I've been Chris.
Be safe. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Tatty buys.
Bye. And don't get COVID.
Bye.
Otherwise you'll be in isolation like me.
And then it's an excuse to play games.
And then you can listen to all the music you want.
Well, I didn't get COVID, but still. Anyway,
Don't
bye.
not get COVID.
Be safe. Welcome to the Victory Achieved podcast. I am your host Dan, and I'm with Brandon and Chris, like always.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
So guys, we had it's a couple weeks late, but we had E3 a couple of weeks back.
We did. I blinked. I missed it. What happened?
I think we were all gushing about Elden Ring as we spoke about last episode.
So, besides Elden Ring, did anything stand out to you?
Metroid Dread. We have to talk about Metroid Dread. Oh my gosh, it looks so good.
It looks okay. It just looks like a reskin of the Samus Returns, which wasn't as good as AM2R, which came out about the same time.
I love the old Metroid. I used to play Zero Mission to death when I was a kid on my Game Boy.
I pick up Super Metroid like at least once a year.
Super Metroid's great.
It's one of my favourite games ever.
But I'm really excited for Metroid Dread, and I'm definitely going to get that on release when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about that one. So, anything else?
I'll say I'll leave it to you guys because I didn't actually watch anything of E3.
Oh, did you not?
I heard everything off the grapevine. Same thing about Elden Ring. I only watched it because I just saw the trailers on YouTube, and that's where I just go to watch it. But yeah, I just avoided E3, or I wouldn't say avoided it. I purposely missed it.
Well, we had obviously they announced the new Smash Bros. Character, Kazuya
Mishima from Tekken.
Yeah. So I think he's releasing. Obviously, but I think he's releasing maybe tomorrow, but by the time this episode is out, he'll be out. But yeah, I think he'll be out tomorrow or at least next week.
So we can say on the next podcast how people are complaining that he breaks the game in half.
I'll be definitely having a go with him. Although I don't know how. He won't be one of the characters I play as, I think.
Well, as much as I like Smash Brothers, I've never bought any extra characters. If not in the base game, I'm not bothered.
I've got them all. So
dedicated Smash player here.
I was playing it the other day, and I was like, I'm so rusty. I'm so rusty on it. It's ridiculous. I was doing classic modes, and I was getting killed, and I was like, I can't believe this. I used to beat level 9s just like that, and now I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised that they've chose Kazuya from the Tekken character, because I would have thought if anyone, I think Jin/Devil Jin would have been a good choice.
I was always thinking maybe Hayachi, but then the thing is with Hayachi, he's in PlayStation All Stars.
Yeah.
And the same with Dante, although it's DMC Dante, not original Dante.
Oh, that's a missed opportunity. If they put Dante in Smash Bros., they could re-release the game just with that sticker that says featuring Dante from Devil May Cry in it. The big Chungus meme.
What else? There was a few interesting Nintendo stuff. They had like new Mario Party, new Mario Golf. Although I've never played either of them, so I don't know. For me,
I'm just gonna open up the E3 announcements. Let's just so I've got some reference points that we can talk about here. Yes, I consent for my data. Wait, so E3 is all over. Halo Infinity, Elden Ring, and Breath of the Wild 2.
Oh yeah, Breath of the Wild 2. How did I forget that? Oh my gosh.
No, I'll tell you why you missed it, because they didn't really show anything. It's like,
No.
we already knew it was in development, and they just sort of crowbarred it in. It's like, oh yeah, we've not got much to show off. Here's like a quick highlights reel.
I've seen a few people say that maybe you're not actually linking it. I was like, what?
Graphically, it looks exactly the same.
Yeah, well, it's probably going to be.
It doesn't look like it's had like any upgrades at all. It just looks the same.
No, not
I'm sure
really.
It will do when it's. I'm sure it will do when it releases, but it's too early footage, really, isn't it?
I'm looking forward to it because I really enjoy Breath of the Wild. I was replaying it.
Oh yeah.
This year because I wanted to play a lot more of it. Because when I got my Switch, I binged it. I think I basically just, as soon as I got my Switch, I just did not put it down until I completed Breath of the Wild. I love that game so much. Although it's not still not one of my favourite Zeldas, I still think it's really good.
Yeah, well, I want to give a little life hack to people out there regarding the Switch. because when I played Breath of the Wild, I was like disheartened that it only had one save slot. I was like, that's a bit sucky. But then I realised, as someone pointed out, I was like, why don't you just set up like a new user profile, and then you can have another save slot essentially. Just play as someone else. But that's so simple. How the hell did I not think of that before?
It's like Pokemon.
Yeah. There you go. If you're wondering about that, there's a little trick for you if you didn't realise. Start a new profile.
I was gonna say, how many times when you're playing games like that do you have multiple save files on the go?
It depends what it is. Normally, if I'm replaying it, I'll have my master save. Then I'll have a save where I'm replaying it.
Oh I think that's as far as I'd ever go. Like a master save, and then one which you're just replaying for the heck of it, or doing like a challenge run.
But
that's as far as I'd go.
I think the worst game for me for that is probably Wind Waker, because I think all my saves are full. I kind of don't know why, but I've got like my master save where I've done I'm on like the second playthrough, and I've done like the whole. I completed the figurine gallery. I don't know if you remember that from Wind Waker, and then I've done one where I completed the game with 3 hearts. So I've not got any heart pieces. I've only got 3 pieces of heart. So I still got 3 hearts, because I read ages ago that there was a secret thing you got, but I don't think that was actually true. But I still beat Wind Waker with only 3 hearts. So
I've never tried to do a challenge run on any Zelda game. I don't know if I could do a minimalist run. I think it just goes against my completion. Nature. It's like, don't pick up the heart piece. I want to pick up the heart piece.
And then I don't know. I've got a few others. When I was playing it again this year, I was just trying to do the figurine gallery on the first playthrough, not on the second. Because on the second playthrough, you get from the get-go, you get the color camera. And I wanted to complete the figurine gallery on the first playthrough, where you have to like do the mission to get the color camera.
Okay. I don't even think I attempted that, to be fair. I think I just went straight for just trying to just get through all the bosses, just that way I can say, okay, I've successfully gone through the whole game and played the whole story, rather than going into like all the innies of it.
Yeah.
See, Wind Waker is a game that I've never played the remaster. I've just got the original game.
Same.
But I've never gone back to it. So I picked it up, I played it, got like 100% completion, but I've never felt the urge to go back to it, because I think the idea of just sailing for that long again is kind of...
the sailing, I will admit, the sailing was very, very long.
I think the HD version helps with that. Like, that makes it a lot faster. I know you get the item called the Swift Sail, and it makes sailing faster. I don't know.
Sorry.
Wind Waker was the first Zelda game I fully completed, and so I've always got a bit of a attachment to it. So I think a lot of the things that aren't very good with it, I think I give it a bit of a pass. But because I've played it so much, I play it to death. But I thought, although it didn't show much of Breath of the Wild 2, that's not even its name as well, I quite liked it. Obviously they're going to the sky now, like they did in Skyward Sword, and obviously Link's, if it is actually Link, he's got a prosthetic arm instead of the tablet. It's the arm.
Or is it Sekiro now?
I was just about to say, you're ripping it off there.
It's not Sekiro.
Yeah.
Great. You know what? If Zelda wants to turn into Souls-like, that's fine with me. I'm well on board.
That'd be pretty sick.
I don't know. Some of the bosses are fucking difficult in Zelda, in Breath of the Wild.
See, as of today of recording, it is on sale on the Switch, so I am actually very tempted to pick it up.
Oh, you've not got it, Brandon?
No.
Oh, you should really get it.
I know. I've been really debating on getting it, but I've been into a few shops. I'm just like, I really can't justify spending nearly £50.
I'll be honest, it kind of is worth it. Like,
it's huge.
It's such a big game. I've been doing the DLC. I've not even finished the DLC, and that was an extra, was it 20 quid I paid? So I've paid. Actually, I didn't even buy the game. I got it for Christmas. But I basically paid 70 quid. Well, not really, but the whole thing is like 70 quid worth, and it feels like it's kind of worth that. I've still got so much to do. I could play it for another 100, 200 hours easily.
I like your little jumping logic there. Okay. Oh yeah, it's worth every penny. I didn't pay for it.
Yeah, I know. I didn't actually buy the game. I got it for Christmas,
Yeah.
but
It's every game is worth it when it's free.
to be
Except
fair,
Fortnite.
I did actually buy the DLC on sale as well.
Oh, squeeze every penny.
Although-
What's the DLC like anyway? I've not played it.
Well, as you were saying, when I said about the bosses, that is where I'm coming from. The DLC bosses are hard. They are basically the bosses in the game, but this time they have a challenge to them. And I've only got to one, and I could not do it. It was so difficult.
Okay.
You get
Yeah,
limited resources to beat the boss with.
Yeah, I was about to say on the base game, I don't remember struggling with any of the bosses.
The only one I struggled with was the desert boss. The desert guardian boss, the electric one in the camel.
Okay.
That
You're
one
saying these bosses, and I'm just like, that sounds like I want to fight it.
It was the last boss I had before you can go to Calamity Ganon from the get go, but it was the last beast of divine beast I had left, and oh my gosh, I hated that boss so much. I think I was talking to it might have been Callum. It might have been Callum. I can't remember. And they said to me that they thought that boss was difficult as well. So it wasn't just me who thought it was. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Callum.
No, I'll definitely pick it up.
I would recommend it.
Yeah, well, when you say words like fight the boss with electric camel in the same sentence, that sounds pretty cool.
It does, doesn't
Well,
it?
you don't fight the boss with an electric camel. You fight. It's in the big divine beast camel, and it fires electricity at you. The boss,
Which isn't as cool, to be honest.
Not the camel.
Oh, can you imagine though? Just, if you went up to a treasure chest and you just picked it out and just held it up, just like this miniaturized, you've got the electric camel.
I think we do need to. Chris, do you see anything the Square Enix stuff?
I did, yeah. Obviously, the biggest standout because they put a lot of focus onto it was the Guardians of the Galaxy, and I want to like that, but I know it's just going to be just Marvel's Avengers, all over again.
I was like,
exactly the same.
It looks really cool, but then you only play as Peter Quill,
who's got a stupid haircut.
Oh yeah, I don't like his character design. To me,
no, well, seeing that, it's like, no, please give it a change.
To me, it just looked like Telltale's Guardians of the Galaxy, but this time you actually get to play as Peter Quill instead of point and click. Other than that, it basically looked like the exact same game with a different look and more action focused.
Yeah, and just like the Marvels, all the characters they're nearly there, but they're not quite. They're just really jarring.
Like the Telltale's Guardians game was fun. It was fine. It was a low in terms of Telltale games. It was like low tier for them, but it wasn't bad. But I kind of, except for now that I'm talking about it, I kind of forget I've played it. I've kind of forgot it existed actually. And then I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I seen the demo for it, but I've not played it. That new Final Fantasy, is it Final Fantasy Chaos? Is it? Looks like it might be interesting.
I don't know. It's the demo on PS4 because I could download it.
Don't think so. I did look for it, but I couldn't see it. I don't know if it
PS5
might
only.
be on PS5.
I don't know. I'm not sure about that because it's meant to be the origins of Final Fantasy 1.
Yeah, you even fight the boss in it.
Yeah,
Garland.
Garland,
that's it.
Yeah, and you got obviously Chaos as well.
Well, again, somebody fired the word Souls-like
I don't know.
I don't know.
I saw a lot about Square Enix, and I just didn't really rate what they announced. To be honest, I think this is kind of going with what I was saying. I think it was back in episode 2. Myself and Square Enix, we've not been getting on for a long time, and I still think that's just going to continue for a long time.
Yeah, talk about a company that fell from grace. I mean, like in the 90s, they just kept banging out great game after great game.
Like, I know this is kind of a very personal thing, a personal statement, but I still think that the last great game that Square Enix did, was when they were Squaresoft, was Final Fantasy 9. I know Final Fantasy 10 is good, but I think the last great game was Final Fantasy 9.
Yeah, I probably agree with you there.
And slowly, like, I guess, they had the Niers, but then I wouldn't say that was kind of Final Fantasy. That was more Yokotaro, and I'd say it's more the storytelling in that.
Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on. Something a glaring omission. What about Kingdom Hearts?
Anyway, I didn't know we were suddenly talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh yeah. Oh, apparently we are.
I enjoy Kingdom Hearts, but it's a bit of a mess, let's be honest. But it's a fun mess.
Yeah, I did a replay not too long back, like the 1.5 version, because it was on Game Pass. So I replayed like the first and the second game, and I'll be honest, I still really enjoyed them.
Oh, same. I replayed.
I skipped like every single cutscene, but I
replayed 1 and 2 a couple of years back, and I still had a blast. I played Chain of Memories. Oh my gosh, that game's terrible. Oh my!
I remember enjoying it on the GBA when it first came out.
Oh, I played it on the PS. Well, it was the PS2 version. Well, obviously on PS3. Oh my gosh, I hated it so much. I was on easy, and I was getting destroyed. I hated the card mechanic so much. I could do normal battles. It was the boss battles. I hated the boss battles with a burning passion.
From what I understand, once you can get like the ability to like combo up some stronger sword or keychain, whatever you call them, then you can pretty much snap the game in half.
I think I would try and beat a boss, and then I would lose all my cards, and I wouldn't have any cards left to use, and I was like, well, this is fun. I couldn't beat the boss with the cards that I had left. So.
What do you think, Brandon? You've been quiet for a little bit.
What are we still going on in regards to Square Enix?
Yeah, and have you played Kingdom Hearts?
I've never played a single Kingdom Hearts game.
Yeah.
No, I've not played a single one. I'm not sure if it's just the Disney-esque of it. It just didn't really appeal to me. So yeah, I've just kind of just not really been too bothered with it.
I kind of want to say you're not really missing much, but at the same time, they're not bad games either. Well, Chain of Memories is, but like 1 and 2 are really fun, and I really like Dream Drop Distance. I know some people didn't, but I really enjoyed that one.
What about 3? What do you think to that?
I
did enjoy 3. Have you not played it?
I've not played 3.
It looks visually fantastic, and it does play well, but I put it on the hard mode because before I played it, everyone said to stick it on hard mode because it's too easy. And even on hard mode, it's pretty easy.
I've done one playthrough on Birth by Sleep as well. I personally didn't really... I thought that was really janky.
I've not really done much in the way of spin-offs, apart from Chain of Memories.
Well, Birth by Sleep's meant to be Kingdom Hearts 0. It's meant to be like the one before 1. Because I know Sora, Riku and Kairi are all kids in that one.
Okay.
It was the one released on PSP.
That's probably why I didn't play it.
Yeah. Well, it came out...
That one.
Obviously, it was on 2.5 remix, so obviously you can play it on PS3 and PS4 and I think Xbox as well, whichever Xbox it's on. But yeah, I thought Birth My Sleep was pretty janky, but I kind of want to continue it so that I can see the story and actually play free. But it's also so janky, I'm like, I kind of don't really want to, and I'm kind of not really bothered about free in some ways.
Well, put it this way, I played through free. For the most part, I was fine. There's some details I didn't get, but I'll be honest, I'm not really there for the story. I'm just there to play it.
Or just because for the sake of the game itself?
Yeah, they are fun games to play. But if you try and write a thesis on it, of what's actually going on, God help you.
And then he brought it to Final Fantasy VII.
Yes. Has anyone played the add-on for 7 Remake at all?
I've not played the 7 Remake at all, not even the demo.
Obviously, mine's downloaded. I have not played it yet. I will. Obviously, Intergrade, I have mixed feelings about as just what it is in general.
Yeah, I mean, they've already said they were going to chop up the game into like 3 chapters already, which I was fine with. Okay, if they're going to do like a grandiose game, yeah. But now you're just putting more add-ons into it. So when's it going to end? It's no longer like the full story anymore.
Well, you already kind of know how I slightly feel about Remake anyway, but I don't know. To me, they're not... Remake isn't... It's not really Final Fantasy VII to me.
I'd say it's more of a reimagining. It's so wildly different. I mean, I have finished it, and I did enjoy the game, but is it as good as the original?
No, definitely
not even close. It's a totally different game.
Yeah,
like it's got the same characters, but they aren't really the same characters, really.
No. But here's a point of consideration with these games, which a lot of games have been coming out as remakes / reimaginations. Do you think? Imagine. All right, it's gonna be really hard to imagine, but put yourself into someone's shoes who has never played a Final Fantasy game, either because they weren't born at the time the game came out, or they weren't fortunate to be able to experience it. If this was their first time approaching a Final Fantasy game, how do you think they possibly could have felt?
I've seen a lot of people say that they've not played any Final Fantasy, and they've come in with 7 Remake, and they've really enjoyed it, and they want to go back and play the older games, and I think that's a really good way to come into it. But at the same time, as a FF veteran, it also grinds my gears because they're coming in with 7 Remake, and it's like I feel like that shouldn't be the game you should come into Final Fantasy with.
I was say, because you could say the same for a lot of the older games, like like how Pokemon has come through with so many of the newer games. We started on the early Pokemon games, and they're the ones that I always tout to say play like the original Pokemon games because they're my all-time favorites. But that could be just because we've grown up with the originals rather than these. Because it's the same thing. Like if you look at the new game that was announced, like Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Yeah,
I've never played the originals, so my way into the series would be because I would have started the later games, which is a very janky way of approaching a series.
I think it depends what it is. Like, let's take like Uncharted. If you start with like Uncharted 4, I'll be a bit like, what? But something like Shin Megami Tensei or Final Fantasy or even Pokemon, playing the latest one isn't a bad thing because the story doesn't continue.
Yeah, granted.
And if it gets you to play in the older games, I don't think it's a bad thing.
I haven't played the first 2 Shin Megami Tensei games, but I have played through 3 and 4, like Nocturne as well.
Yeah.
And both the Digital Devil Saga games. Very, very good. I do highly recommend them.
Yeah.
To be warned, they are bloody hard.
Yeah, I hear that about Nocturne.
Because I was just going to say, because there's a lot of these games which are coming out as sequels from older games, most of the time, not all the time, granted, not all the time, but there's still going to be continuations from the previous games. And the previous games are just becoming harder and harder to come by. be it the consoles that they're on, or there's no digital copies of them. So do you think it would, I really do think that they need to try and digitalize a lot of these older games and bring them onto the new gen consoles. Like I said this before, I would absolutely love for the Banjo-Kazooie on the N64 to come to the Switch. That would be a freaking amazing thing. Same thing for like any of the PS1 or the PS2 classics. If they could just port them onto PS4, PS5, or whatever, I think it can really like bring back to life some of the older series.
Well, what you saying about?
To be doing that a lot.
You say about Banjo-Kazooie, you can play 1 and 2 on your 360.
Yeah, exactly. A 360. So it's
that's true.
Even then, it's still starting to fade out.
Well, Banjo-Kazooie, it's on Xbox One as well and on Game Pass. So
is it? What, the original?
Yep. Both
oh shit.
Yeah, because I'd say for like the older games, a lot of companies do seem to be putting their best foot forward for the most part to upload them, like the collections.
Yeah.
Like I've seen advertised only this afternoon the reporting. Do you remember the original Alex Kidd from the Master System? Reporting that.
I know of it. Yes.
Not a game I recommend because it's so old, but they are like doing sort of DX sort of reskin of it, but it still includes the original version as well, if you want to. But there are quite a lot of collections out there. Like I bought like not so long back the Castlevania collection on the PS4, which has got like 8 Castlevania games on.
I know they did it with the Mega Man series on Switch. I don't know how many games was in it, but
there's 10 for the original games, and then there's like the 8X games as well, the Legacy collections. I bought those as well.
I will admit the one I did pick up is the Jak and Daxter set on the PS4. That was a nice purchase. Exactly, because all I've played is Jak and Daxter Precursor Legacy. I've not played number 2, number 3, or the Racer. So it's nice that I bought the collection. So it's acted as a gateway into that series. So I mean, it's good. It's good that they're starting to do it, but it is. It's definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I used to get Jak and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank mixed up. It was like the same franchise.
Well, yeah, that's the same thing. I got the Ratchet and Clank as well. So like, what they deemed as like a remake of the first one.
Good remake.
I enjoyed it.
Be forewarned though, if you do decide to stream Ratchet and Clank on the PS4 for any reason, it blocks the cutscenes, and I've got no idea why.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I think sometimes games, like if you, I've played games before where all of a sudden it pops up saying video recording disabled for this. Yeah, I think it's most likely to do with spoilers or things like
Persona
that.
5 was like that when it first came out. You could only stream up to like a certain point, but obviously now you can stream the whole game regardless. But like the first couple months or so, it was like you can only stream up to this section, and then you can't stream it if you can't stream anymore until whatever date.
That's still
like real life name, not in-game date.
That's very stupid. I don't see why though. Why Ratchet and Clank? I mean, I've done so much PS4 games over the years. Why that one? What's so pivotal about that plot that people should not be allowed to see?
Who knows? Maybe
the only other game I've had it with, which I'm slightly more understanding with, is the original Final Fantasy VII. That blocked a couple of cutscenes, not all of them. Just like
I wonder which one.
Yeah, that one and the ending. But every other cutscene, fine.
Okay. So I know you just mentioned the ending of Final Fantasy VII. I'm gonna be honest. I think the ending of Final Fantasy VII is very lackluster.
I remember the ending.
It's fine. I like the end credits bit.
Oh, the end credit bits is fun, but as much as I love Final Fantasy VII, it is still my second favourite Final Fantasy. But I always think I think it's always me and how I feel about Final Fantasy VII. I always don't like maybe everyone that bums it so much or bigs it up, because I always think that 9's better. I think that's always me. But the ending of Final Fantasy VII is very lackluster. Like, spoilers for Final Fantasy VII, but also they save the world, and then like you have the cutscene where they're just talking at the bottom, and then next minute you don't even know if they're alive or dead, and it just goes to the credits, and then next minute you just see Red 13, and you're like, well, did they die? What happened? And then it's like, oh, here's Advent Children. Really? Advent Children to find out how they fucking survived a fucking terrible film. Wow.
Well,
Oh yeah, I hate Advent Children. Burning passion.
All I'm gonna say is the model of Cloud Strife and Sephiroth and the plushie of Sephiroth I've got is staring at you, judging me.
You see, I feel like I will be like a breeze of fresh air to this, because the first time I played a Final Fantasy game was 2019, wasn't it, Dan? When I borrowed your Final Fantasy 9.
Yes.
Yes, I started off with Final Fantasy 9, which I borrowed off yourself. Did I borrow your Final Fantasy 7 as well? No, I got the digital copy of that on the PS4, and then I got Final Fantasy 8 from the shop. I also got the Final Fantasy 3 for the DS port.
Fun game.
I've also played around about 80% of Final Fantasy 10 on the Xbox 360 so far.
Fun game.
So I am steadily getting through it. It's been on like a back burner since I stopped playing it during COVID, because that's when I started getting through Final Fantasy 10, and I sort of dropped it for other games which came out, like Neo. I started to pick up around about the same time as well. But yeah, it's still on my to-do list to get through more and more of the Final Fantasy games.
Well, I'm going to make a blanket statement here. Like, regardless of the quality of the Final Fantasy games, nearly all of them have a really good soundtrack.
Oh yeah, like 7 its soundtrack is so good.
Oh yeah, even to this, like now, like if I'm out on a jog, me jogging, funny story, but like I'll still play like the Genova theme song, the One Winged Angel. I do love those soundtracks. They're freaking amazing.
Oh, they're fantastic. The boss battle music, if
they're
you're
so
in
good.
the gym when that's on, it's all the motivation you need.
To me, like, this goes along. The whole Final Fantasy 9 soundtrack is just iconic for me. Every single song, it just hits me so much. Like, I love the fact that its theme song, Melodies of Life, is kind of a in-story thing, and it kind of like at the end, it kind of feels like you hear Dagger or Garnet singing the actual song in the end credits, and I love that about Final Fantasy 9, that its theme song is basically a part of the story in the game.
So on about music, I don't get it anymore. But I remember like playing RPGs in like the late 90s, like early 2000s, and getting really excited for every RPG I picked up because I wanted to hear what the boss battle theme music was going to be.
I'm still like it to this day.
Yeah, but I don't seem to get that sort of joy anymore.
No, mate, even to this day, like it gets to a point where like I've played Neo 1, I've played Neo 2, and I think both the Neo games are fantastic in terms of world building and whatever. But my only downside is there's not a single point, maybe there's one or two good boss theme songs. And I feel like that's part of me is because of Dark Souls, because all of Dark Souls, Soulsborne, everything like that had iconic theme songs for the bosses. And I feel that sort of revitalized my love for soundtracks, like boss soundtracks. So like to the point where my only gripe with some games nowadays is, there's no cool boss soundtracks.
I suppose if you know where to look for them, but I suppose it's just like finding new music in general. Especially like when you're a little bit older, like you kind of stick with what you know. It's like finding newer bands it doesn't have the same grab as the older stuff you used to listen to and grow up with.
I kind of agree and disagree. I think I'm someone that loves discovering new music. I listen to a new album every day, so I know it, at least that by the end of the year I've listened to 365 albums at least.
Damn.
Released in that year, not just not just in general. That's not even including every other album I've never heard that's come through the years. I'm talking about. So like this year, I'll listen to at least 365 albums released in 2021. I think it was 2019. I think I listened to like 600 albums or something like that released in 2019.
Bloody hell.
Something like
Here's
that.
me still listening to like the Sonic 2 soundtrack.
Oh,
Only
but
last night.
Oh, mate, Sonic 2. I saw a survey on Facebook about this. It was like, what's your favourite Sonic game of all time? And it was Sonic Adventure 2. And I've got such a soft spot for that game.
He's talking about Sonic 2, not Sonic Adventure 2.
You know, but I'm just on about Sonic Adventure 2 because
But Sonic
the soundtrack
Adventure 2
in that game
is so good.
Yeah,
Sonic Adventure 2 soundtrack is amazing.
So good.
It's so good.
The game, not so much anymore.
I don't know. I have a.
I still love the game, and I love the chow mechanic in it. That was so good.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I do love it, but goddamn, it's janky nowadays.
There's so many old games that are just janky, but there's a bit of nostalgia. It's like, like the Sonic Adventure 2 soundtrack just like it just hits in every way. In some ways, you have like the Knuckle songs that are like pretty, like very rap themed, and then you have
it's funny you say that because I feel like that's one of the very few rap songs I like. There's just something about it that it just gets my head bopping and everything.
And then you have like the more faster paced Sonic and Shadow stuff, and then the more relaxed Rouge, and then like was it Tails and Eggman a bit industrial in some ways.
Yeah.
And then you got everything else. It just has this really interesting soundtrack. To be honest, a lot of Sonic games have great soundtracks. It's not just that. Sonic Heroes has a good soundtrack. Obviously, the original Sonic games, I still think Green Hill Zone is the best.
I would say Green Hill is like everyone's iconic Sonic
song. I think it's the best Sonic song, personally, but...
I don't know. Open Your Heart from Sonic Adventure 1.
Open Your Heart is great.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because even though I absolutely adored Sonic Adventure 2, I don't think I've completed Sonic Adventure 1 yet.
You know?
I don't think I have.
I've only
because I started to play it during the first COVID lockdown. I got so far through it, but I can't remember how far I got onto it. But it's still like there to be completed. I've
only beaten it once.
So I replayed it again recently, live streaming it. And I remember at the time when it released, loads of people complained about how bad the camera was. And at the time, I was like, I don't remember it being that bad. I had no problem with it. Picked it up to play it, and my first thought was, why is the camera so bad?
The camera was a struggle. Like, it did take a bit of getting used to.
You know what? Another game that has a bad camera. Super Mario 64.
Yeah. Oh, it's not as bad as Sonic Adventure, but yeah. At least you can control it a bit in 64. Oh, God damn.
It's the fact that it's really hard to do a smooth transition. It's just like a whole click. And you get across.
Well, since you're on about Mario, I'd say soundtrack-wise, I think Mario 64 has got the best soundtrack.
Oh, it's so good. Games. It's so good.
Bob on Battlefield for days.
Oh, that's just such an iconic.
Yeah, that is iconic.
Yeah. I think most Mario games have a great soundtrack. I think because I actually was playing it the other day, Super Mario Sunshine has a great nostalgia for me because I grew up. That was like the 3D Mario game I grew up with over 64.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, because I'm trying to think from what other ones from the Marios. I did like the Bowser songs from like 64.
I always remember, because I know it's on Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I can't remember which. I think it's from Super Mario Bros. 3. But there's one of the songs from Super Mario Bros. 3. It's on Brawl, and it is actually on the new Smash Bros. As well. But every time I hear it, it reminds me of Pendulum. It reminds me of one of their songs. I think it's Granite. It reminds me of the Pendulum song Granite off In Silico.
I think I've heard of
that. I'm going to have to listen to that. I do like me a bit of Pendulum, but I can't place that one.
It's not one of their best, but Uh, I always think it's airship theme, but it might be under. I can't remember which song it is, but it sounds like Granite, or basically Granite sounds like because the Mario song came out first, so Granite sounds like this Mario song. I can't remember what it is. I'm not going to know until after we've finished recording as well. So I can't just be like, oh, it's that.
Well, if you want a bit of music to chill out to and maybe have a bit of a kick to, put on Mario 64 Dire Dire Docks.
Oh, such a good song.
Relax.
That is probably my favourite Mario song. No, it is my favourite Mario song. It's such a good song.
That's nailed it then.
Do.
Yeah, it sounds exactly like that.
Yep.
The one that, like, I don't know why, but you know the one for the desert and the lava zone in Mario 64?
Yeah.
That
Wow.
like that, I don't know why, but that just makes me feel nervous whenever I hear it in that game. Like, it just makes me feel like I'm sinking or burning, one of the two feelings.
No, if you want that sinking feeling, jump back to Sonic again. That bloody drowning sound. Instant anxiety.
You know, another great soundtrack is the original Pokemon soundtrack from.
I was
Red and
going to
Blue.
say, you know, the rival.
No, just the whole
you know,
the whole thing. It's
I
so
was,
good.
I was paying more so attention to, you know, when you fight the rival after the Elite Four.
Oh,
in
that's
the,
amazing! It's like
yeah. Oh my God. I freaking adore that song to bits.
I finished my Nuzlocke on it last year, and it was so intense, and it was like probably like the best playthrough I've played on Blue in a long time.
So only last week I streamed Pokemon Yellow using just the Kangaskhan.
How did that go?
It went completely smoothly. I had no problems whatsoever until I got to the Elite Four.
I didn't think you'd be struggling.
And then I had quite a lot of trouble with Agatha.
Yeah.
Just trying to get past there. But it took me, I think, about 6 attempts to get through.
Did you
All in all.
Did you do it like a Nuzlocke? So if you died, if you died, it didn't matter. You just carry on.
So how I did it in the end is, if I died, I just like started again from scratch. But I didn't like use save states or anything. I was like, no, I want to do it in like one go. I didn't like save in game.
Yeah, okay.
So I want to try and do the Elite Four in one go, and I got there eventually.
So you didn't do it like Madry Bread, where if he dies, he just carries on.
Nah.
Yeah.
No, because I knew with how I was doing, I needed to level up, and the quickest way to level up is just to fight the Elite Four over and over.
Yeah.
And I think I did it at level 74 in the end.
Yeah.
So a bit higher than I thought, actually. I think I was like level 62 when I took them on. So I went up like another 12 levels before I could do it.
I'm quite surprised that you were that high. I would have thought you'd be
Yeah.
far lower as Kangaskhan.
Yeah, I would say usually I think I get like high 50s. Usually when I get to the Elite Four.
I think I did it around even in my 40s.
Now, the thing with Kangaskhan is quite a good physical attacker, but the special stat is shockingly bad. And obviously, when you get into Agatha, physical attacks are useless. So I was trying to use stuff like Ice Beam and Thunderbolt, and was only doing like a quarter damage with the health bar. So yeah. Other than that, plain sailing. The rest of the game, piece of cake.
That whole
I was going to say, oh my God.
But like that soundtrack, Pallet Town is probably my favourite from that soundtrack. Just the Pallet
Pokemon
Town.
Center.
Oh, the Pokemon Center's iconic. Like the whole soundtrack's iconic, but like for me, I just think the Pallet Town is just so beautiful. I've been trying to find
like Lavender Town.
I just think like the Pallet Town has just such a warmth to it, and I've been trying to find a really good piano cover of it on like YouTube and Spotify for so long. I've finally found a few. I can't remember who does it, but it's so beautiful.
Well, I really wanted to like the Mount Moon soundtrack a bit more, but unfortunately the track's only 2 seconds long because that's how long you can play it for before you get another bloody Zubat encounter. And it's
I was
like-
going to say that as well. Just constant Zubats in these caves.
So the soundtrack for Mount Moon is this. That's it. On repeat, definite.
Pretty much. But he did.
I was going to say, seeing as we're on the themes of like Pokemon and stuff like that, one of the other sound. Right, I don't know if you guys have ever played it, but you know the Digimon World series. Have you ever played that?
Yeah.
Chris?
No.
Soundtrack of Digimon World 1 was really, really good. Like, there's so many. Because when you do, again, each of the individual areas have their own like little bits of sound to it. The fights have their own bits of sound to it, and even when you talk to certain characters like Leomon, when you talk to him, has a specific theme, and they've also got different themes depending on if it's day or night as well. And that was a really nice touch for that as well.
Did you ever play the Digimon Cyber Sleuth games?
I played Cyber Sleuth Hackers Memories, and then I found out that that's actually not the actual game.
No, it's more like a 1.5 after the movie.
Yeah. So then I was like, right, I need to try and find the original Cyber Sleuth, which very oddly enough, I could not find on the PS4 store.
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah, I got Hacker's Memory, but then as soon as I tried to find the normal Cyber Sleuth, I'm just like, where is it?
Oh, it must be on there because I've got it. So
Might have been
no one's
taken
taking
off.
it off any reason.
I don't know, I just couldn't find it.
Remember they took off Cyberpunk and they're only just bringing it back onto the store.
I picked up New World Order.
Well, we know they took Cyberpunk off because it was just broken. There's no reason why they took Digimon off.
Who knows?
I don't know. Yeah, well, that's another one to the gaming graveyard then, which no one else will ever play. Stick it on the pile next to PT.
It's probably just me being an idiot, but I just couldn't find it. Literally, after this, I'm probably just going to go down and just see if I can actually find it.
Well, it's a good game anyway. But again, I like the boss music in that. It's just like pretty chill, sort of more dance than anything, but a little bit sinister. Shall we do a sort of quick fire round? Just like
Quick fire round sounds good.
Just like a few games that you think's got a really good soundtrack. You don't have to go into like great detail. Just like a few games that you think like nobody talks about.
Oh, that nobody talks about. Oh god, okay.
Ooh.
So I can fire off a couple. I really like the soundtrack to Prey. I love the soundtrack to Skies of Arcadia.
Not played
ever
either
played
of
that?
them.
I've not played either of those either.
The original Grandia games, they were very good.
Not played that.
What games?
Grandia.
Oh,
They
no.
recently re-released Grandia 1 and 2 on the Switch in a collection.
No, I don't know them.
Yeah, very good games.
I'm
yeah,
going to say it, but Free Houses, Fire Emblem Free Houses has a great soundtrack, but obviously neither of you have played that. Undertale.
Oh, Undertale.
Yeah,
oh my god.
Undertale's so good. Even Deltarune. Deltarune has a great soundtrack as well. Well, I need to actually play it properly.
Oh, I did finish Deltarune, but I'll be honest with you, I can't really remember it because it's more of a couple hours long demo.
Yeah.
Really.
I played an hour and then I keep meaning to play it and then I just haven't. Obviously, original Spyro games. Well, the original trilogy.
Yeah, they've got so good. Like some of them, like to this day, I'll just like if I'm working on something, like I could just stick on like Cloud Spires, and that was like one of the ones. Gateway to Glimmer, that's another one.
Well, do you know who did the soundtrack for the original Spyro games?
No, I don't.
It was Stuart Copeland, and do you know who that is?
It's gonna sound really bad, but no.
He's the drummer of the Police.
What?
Yeah,
Didn't he do some work for Banjo-Kazooie as well?
I don't know, but yeah, Stuart Copeland did the Spyro soundtracks. He actually came back for the remake for the Reunited trilogy. He came back and did a new song just for it.
That's really cool.
No, he did do Enter the Dragonfly as well, apparently. And
Speaking of Enter the Dragonfly, for some reason, anytime I've tried to pick up a copy of that, it's always been buggy.
I think the whole game is meant to be buggy. I never played it.
Because like when I picked up the trilogy, I was like, okay, I want to go through it. I want to play Enter the Dragonfly and then go and complete Hero's Tale. Because even though I've had Hero's Tale, I've never actually sat through and completed it because it follows on from bloody Enter the Dragonfly a little bit.
I think I've just been like, the original trilogy is just perfect to me. I don't need to play anymore. I've 100%ed those games. I don't need to play. I've always wanted to play the fourth one, but I'm now at the point where I don't ever want to play it. I don't think I'll get anything out of it. I think it will ruin my love for Spyro.
You think so?
I think so in some ways.
I don't know. I feel like it's got a nice charm to it, but yeah. So, if I was to pick some games which I think have a real nice soundtrack, I think the Dynasty Warriors series.
They do have
like,
some fun.
All of the maps on there are absolute bangers. Like Warriors of Orochi, Samurai Warriors, Dynasty Warriors themselves, such bangers of soundtracks.
Have you played Hyrule Warriors?
No, I haven't played Hyrule Warriors.
What I love about that is because it just remixes Zelda music, so it's like Dynasty Warriors and Zelda. It's so good. That
does sound like it's a nice mix.
That game is such a game for. It's such a what's it? I can't think of the word now. It's such not fanboy. No, I can't think of the word, but it's definitely like a game that was made for Zelda fans. It's such a fun game, even if it's not. The story's absolute. The story's terrible. Oh my gosh, it's one of the worst stories I've ever played. But it's It's awful. It's so bad. But then that's not the reason I played it. It's just so fun seeing like all your favourite Zelda characters just come together. It's just such a nostalgia Zelda trip. It's so fun.
Yeah, I've never played it. I've seen it about, but I don't know why. I think it's just because obviously I've really loved the Dynasty Warriors series and I like the Zelda series, but for some reason I just can't compute putting the two together. I don't know why.
Well, I recommend it. Like I said,
Yes,
the story's wank, but it's but that's not why you play it.
So you're there for the hack and slash.
Oh yeah, you want to play as Link, and you want to destroy 4,000 enemies just like that.
Well, on about weird mashups like that. Have either of you played the Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle game?
No, but apparently they're
really
good.
They're really good. Like gameplay's fantastic. I mean, yeah, plot's crap, and I don't like the Rabbids at all. But they're not too annoying. It's like the best positive I can say to them. But in this game, but the actual gameplay is great. It's just like XCOM, but with Mario.
The new ones, they've announced a new one at E3. That's something we didn't mention, but they announced the follow-up.
Yeah, they did. I kind of forgot about it, but I'm probably more hyped for that.
I might debate about getting the first one. I'm not sure.
I think you can pick it up dirt cheap with like the expansion.
I think it's on sale right now. Well, no, it won't
Yeah,
be.
it's well worth picking up.
Oh, it might be on sale today because today's the last day. Because I picked up 2 things on sale on the Switch. Cause
Yeah, honestly, they're great games.
Yeah, I
Like
picked up.
So how it plays, like you sort of like have a hub, and then like you go into battle, and there's like certain different stipulations you got to do. It's normally just like eliminate all the enemies or get someone across the map, that kind of thing. But as I say, it plays like XCOM, but you can sort of replay the missions to get like a little bit more experience, a bit more money, and I think it's got like a sort of 3-star system, if I remember correctly. So if you like do it flawlessly, so it's got a bit of replay value as well. But honestly, they're good games. Well, the first one isn't.
Interesting.
Just trying to think of games. I've not actually played them, but every time I listen to the Splatoon music on Smash Bros, it seems so good.
I've not played anything of Splatoon. So I saw anytime I went Comic-Con, I always saw like a massive gathering for Splatoon, but I just don't know. I just didn't really give it a chance.
I've not played it either.
But I think it's Acid Hues from it might be Splatoon 2 or I don't know which one it is, but the song Acid Hues from one of the Splatoons is so good. You should check that song out.
Okay.
Right. So, do you think we'll be able to narrow it down? Like, what if we looked at different consoles for games that came out on those consoles? Would that make it easier to think of some banger soundtracks?
Well, see, you know my love for both Nier soundtracks.
Mm.
Like, both Nier soundtracks are absolutely beautiful, and the second one, Automata one, kind of lends itself to original Nier because you have like remixes of the Song of Ancients and a meal, and it might be a little bit of Kaine. I don't know. Actually, I don't think there is a bit of Kaine, but there's like a remixes of Emil's song and Song of Ancients, which are really good because they kind of both of them come back into Automata because there's like a Emil fight as an extra thing, and so it has a remix of his song, and then in the story you have the twins, they come back and it has a remix of their song of Ancients, and it's really cool. And you can feel kind of the emotions that you feel like in original Nier. So what's everyone's favourite Zelda soundtrack though?
Link to the Past.
I was to say I can't really speak for that because I don't. This is gonna sound really bad, but I can't really remember too much of the soundtracks. I think the one which I probably remember the most is maybe, the dramatic theme songs from Majora's Mask.
Yes.
When you first exit your house in the Deku Village in Ocarina of Time, that was I quite liked that. Wind Waker, when you're just out on the breeze, that's quite pleasant. But I can't really, for the life of me, and it's gonna sound really bad, but I just can't. They're not sort of burned enough into my mind to make them memorable yet. Unless I went through and replayed them, because I do want to replay Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
I feel like if I went through the games again, because it must have been about 2 or 3 years ago that I went through and played all of the Zelda games. Well, obviously the first 3 3D ones. But I've really got to go through them again and just sort of appreciate more for the soundtracks of those.
I think near enough. Definitely, like Ocarina, Majora, Wind Waker, Twilight, and from what I remember of Skyward, all of them have great soundtracks. Like Breath of the Wild has some interesting moments, but I think it's too ambient, so a lot of the songs don't really stick. Obviously, A Link to the Past has a great soundtrack. Even Link's Awakening has a great soundtrack as well. Obviously, original Zelda. You can't knock original Zelda. That soundtrack.
You can knock Zelda 2, though.
Yeah, we can. But for me, my favourite is Ocarina of Time. Probably followed by Wind Waker because I've played it enough. But I actually found, I'm gonna link it in the description for this episode, but I found a YouTube video the other week where it was the Ocarina of Time soundtrack, but done as a prog rock album.
Oh yeah, I mean the Zelda stuff's been remixed by different styles so many times.
But it was like a half an hour video of just loads of different Ocarina of Time songs. It was so fun to listen to. I was just painting, and I just had this prog rock Zelda album, Zelda video playing. I was like, this is so good. I was like, I'm definitely gonna link it on our next episode. So like I said, I'll put that in the description. But that's worth a listen.
I'll say, now that you've brought back Ocarina of Time, I've just remembered a few of the songs from Ocarina of Time which I adore. It's like when Song of Storms, Saria songs, like they just flushed back into my mind. I'm just like, oh, these are just great. I don't know how I just forgot about them. Oh, I'm so two head from forgetting those.
Obviously,
You know what you did, didn't you? You must have played the Song of Time and went back until you could remember the song.
Yeah, I had to. I had to go back to a time 3 years ago where I played the games to remember it.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, like the Final Fantasy soundtracks are great. Final Fantasy 9, 7, even 10 has a great soundtrack.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Most of 10 was just a soundtrack. You just playing it over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a soundtrack with a game attached to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is actually.
Just like Tizanakin from 10 is like the iconic song. I remember when I was at school, my friend tried to play Tizanakin for like the was it like the music thing. I think he did mess it up at places, but for the most part he did get the majority of it right. But that is a great song. I always try and listen to that. You know what else has got a great soundtrack?
Guitar Hero.
Silent Hill 2.
Yes, it does. Silent Hill 3 as well. Just for You're Not Here. I love that track.
Promises and is it Laura's song from Silent Hill 2?
Yeah, Theme of Laura.
Yeah, they are amazing songs. Yeah, Theme of Laura. They are amazing. They're so good.
Alright. So let's turn this on its head. What's been some of the worst soundtracks you've ever heard? Or just a single song?
Oh,
This
this is gonna need a thing.
I don't really know. I think I don't know. I can't really think of many.
I'd say there's a lot of games where the soundtracks are just an added bonus. I can't really think of examples where soundtracks have taken away value from a game.
Okay, I'll give you one example. Because there's a bit of a story behind it as well. So my pick is the Resident Evil Director's Cut basement theme, where it's basically just trumpets, and it's so out of place and so jarring to the rest of the game.
Right.
And the reason it happened is because the composer for the original Resident Evil games turned out to be slightly deaf, and he had most of the bulk ghost written. When that was found out, when the director's cut was re-released, he composed that bit, and yeah, everyone thought this man's deaf. What the hell happened here? It's quite the scandal. You want to dig into it a little bit? Yeah. So yeah, that's my pick. It's been memed to death if you have a look at YouTube.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I can't really none really come to mind of games where a soundtrack has brutalized it.
I can't think of any. Like, I know there's like a few soundtracks where I do turn them off, but if I actually think about it and I'm like, that soundtrack does actually work with this game, like I turn it off because it's not really my cup of tea, or I want to listen to something else. But then that soundtrack does work. The only one I'm thinking of is my little comfort game, which is Bloons Tower Defense 6. Like, it's not the best soundtrack, but it works great for that game. But I always turn it off. But it's not something I choose to listen to. But for that game, it's great.
Okay, I can think of one game where the soundtrack does irritate me, and it's a mobile game, and it got ported onto the Switch. It's called Idols and Champions, I think. It's an idol clicker game, and the soundtrack is just overly repetitive. And I'm just like, I could just play this. It got to a point where I just had to turn it off because it's the same beat just over and over again. It doesn't even matter what menu screen you're on. It's the same freaking song. I'm sorry, I can't be dealing with this. It's too much. So yeah, that'll probably be the game in which the soundtrack has literally turned me off from a game.
I was really, really hoping that one of you would have said Big the Cat's theme from Sonic Adventure.
I can't remember it.
Wait, whose?
Big the Cat. I can't remember it.
I can't remember that, but I didn't like
your brain's blocked out.
I'll
say I don't like Roses.
I'm gonna have to put it on straight after.
Yeah. Oh no. But if you've ever played the DS game Sonic Chronicles, like the RPG game, the music in that is just MIDI sounds.
I wanted to play it.
Basically corrupted. It's terrible.
I really wanted to play it, but
it's all like touchscreen controllers, and it's dreadful. It's so bad. I really wanted to like it. It's terrible.
I really can't think of anything like anything bad musically. I think if I don't like it, I just turn it off, and then I'm fine. I think
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like,
fair enough.
you know what?
You'll probably think about a handful as soon as we've done.
Yeah, I know.
Possibly, but it's just like when you're just on the fly. I just can't remember any in particular.
I got another great soundtrack, and I actually can't believe I didn't mention this. I don't think you've played it, Brandon, but I think Chris has. Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, I've not played it.
Yeah, it's a good game.
That soundtrack is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
The rearranged like orchestral version of the actual Chrono Trigger theme is beautiful.
See, I was about to say this is what makes like the backtracks stand out, because you'll have a fantastic soundtrack, and even if it's not terrible, but it's like subpar, it sticks out like a sore thumb because just how good the rest of the music is.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
there's so many great themes in Chrono Trigger. I think it's Wind theme. That's the one I always remember. When you go back into like the medieval time where you get Frog, and that theme just sticks out.
Yeah, I need to re-listen to it. I can remember like the general combat music, but the rest of it escapes me. It's not a game I've played an awful lot of.
I
finished it.
I got it on my PC, I think, recently, and I've also got it on my Wii. But yeah, it's such an amazing game. That's a game you should play, Brandon. Chrono Trigger.
To be fair, that has been on my list, and there's been a couple, JRPG style games which have been on my list, but I don't know why. I just keep forgetting to either pick them up or just keep pushing them back because more and more stuff gets added.
I think
because I've been wanting to play the God Eater games as well, because I just wanting to give them a try.
Yeah, I've never played those, but they look kind of
Xenoblade as well.
I want to play Xenoblade.
Yeah, I've not played that either.
I want to play the Mother series, like Earthbound. I really want to play Mother 3 so much, but I have to obviously emulate that and get a fan translation to play it.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I've played Earthbound. I've finished that, but I've never played the third one. Why won't you release it over here? What?